We got to get those confetti guns in the studio for Joe and Skaz at night. The green and white confetti guns.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Naked confetti gun party.
I do. Yeah. Seeing Joe and Skaz running through it would be quite a sight. Streaking through the confetti.
Oh, it's a beautiful blizzard, Skaz. I love it.
So, what are your Celtics thoughts, Mazz, heading into the season?
So, look, to me, the question now is, can they maximize this window? And I'm not sure the window is quite as long as everybody thinks it is. And when I say that, I mean that the rules are really going to kick into effect after this season, or the rules are already in effect, but the impact of the rules will really kick into after this season for the Celtics, which means they're going to have to take a hard look at that roster and decide who stays and who goes. Now, look, I leave open the possibility that a new owner will come in and say, we're going to pay the $500 million. I think that's highly unlikely no matter who buys the team. But there is that small chance. If it's a Bezos or whoever else, then fine. Then the window goes on longer. But the likelihood is that this group, and I'm talking about Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Horford, Derek White, Drew Holiday, there's a crap ton of money invested in that team. And it's highly unlikely they're going to run it all back, even if they win it again. So the championship window, the sustainable championship window that the Celtics thought they were going to have if they built it around Tatum and Brown, could be a lot shorter than people think. So there is some pressure, despite Joe Mazzulla's comments here over the last 24 hours or so, or a couple of days, there is some pressure to win now, because you're not going to have this together for that much longer. The penalties are going to hit.
Yeah.
They're going to hit next season.
But for this season, in a vacuum, they're going to run roughshod throughout the league. And the Knicks have retooled with Karl Anthony Towns, that late move, Mikal Bridges, and maybe they can out-tough the Celtics. I don't think so. To me, they're like the Bridgie Celtics of 7-8 years ago, where, they have X amount of talent, but a lot of heart. That only takes you so far. And then I heard something today with Zoe and Beadle, and it was specifically Tim McCohen, about that team. Because I was like, okay, maybe I'm not giving the Knicks enough credit. Maybe they can challenge the Celtics, because they do have a lot of heart. He said something about that team. I almost drove off the road. Do you know about Mikal Bridges this summer, how he changed his shot? Did you hear him talking about this? So Mikal Bridges came in at Brooklyn. He was a 38% three-point shooter. Over the summer, for some reason, he said, I'm going to change my shot. From three in the preseason, he's 2 of 19. If you look at clips of him, he has this weird hitch to his shot now. This is one of the marquee guys they brought in to try to retool to challenge the Celtics. And this a-hole decided over the summer, let's switch things up. I'll change my shot now that I'm on the Knicks. And he might have already derailed what they're trying to do. So I'm sorry, to your Bucks, I don't really even put them in the picture. Maybe I'm underrating them too. It's the Celtics and everybody else. They're going to run roughshod throughout the league. And then, after that, sure, the window might close because the new owners are not going to do stuff. But for me, selfishly, I think for them on the floor, what we're going to be able to talk about on the show ain't going to be much. It's the sale we'll be able to talk about. But they're going to be too good. They're going to kill everyone in their path this year.
I mean, the regular season could be like it was a year ago, where basically they just go wire to wire. I would not rule that out. I had not heard about Bridges' mechanics change.
Watch the clips, Matt. You're gonna it's hysterical.
I mean, really, if that did happen, it's just really dumb. What are you messing with something that works for if you're shooting that well? But I also think it's not just about the conference with the Celtics; it's about the rest of the league. So Oklahoma City's got a good team. They're sort of the flavor of the month. We'll see what happens with Minnesota now without Karl Anthony Towns. Feels like they took a step back. So, but I think there are a couple of teams that could put a scare into the Celtics. And I'm sorry, when you're as good as they are, I don't think you just look at the East anymore. I think you look at the whole league. You're the best in the league. Stay there.
Yeah, I don't even look at the field, meaning, of course you're the best team. I think that's kind of a waste of time. No one caught him on a roster standpoint. They have the best roster, right?
They do.
Yeah, not even close.
Why we even... So what's the point of saying what the Knicks have or what the... No one has what they have. That's not the... To me, that's not the analysis. My analysis is when something looks as easy as it does or feels as easy as it does it ever just work out that way?
Rarely.
I mean, and these are human beings we're talking about. So, it just can't be as easy as you all are carrying on about. It just can't be. I mean, it was last year. I mean, turned out it was. It's going to be that easy again? I mean, last year was easy. No one really challenged them. You were because again, you were that much better than everybody else, and you played hard, and everything worked out, and you had good health and good motivation, and it all lined up. How's it like? It's just going to all line up again? I mean, and if it does, no one will challenge you. But I just. Denver came off their championship, and everyone said the same thing. This is their league. This is Jokic's time. They're the odds-on favorite. They're the heavy favorite to win again. When the Bucks won, they said the same thing. And something went wrong. Something happened. The Bucks, had an injury with Middleton. Is may have what cost them. And I don't even know if they were that good to begin with, but certainly they had an injury. Denver, Murray got hurt in the middle of the year, but was fine by the end. But they just ran out of gas. And they just didn't quite have the edge that they did in the postseason the year before. And so it's like, I don't know, people just think somehow the Celtics are above that or beyond that.
Well, it's because they're different. I believe I've been racking my brain trying to come up with who can challenge them or anything like that.
Why are they different?
Because they're deeper?
Because they're deeper and they're not one-player-centric. Denver is, I think, one-player-centric with Jokic, and it was the same with your Bucks and Giannis. They're deep. They don't have to rely on Brown or Tatum as much. That's what got them in trouble prior. And now that I feel like they've figured that out, and as long as they don't have any kind of infighting and are still good with playing that way.
So you think if Brown and Tatum take big steps back, they're still the best team and they win it all?
Big steps back. Well, no, not if they take big steps back, but if they play at the level they did last year, which I think they will, yeah, I think they'll repeat.
Okay, that's assuming they're going to play at the level they played last year.
I think, I'm sorry to cut you off, Mazz, but I think those two have the ass because of these slights that have happened to them over the summer, whether it was the Olympics thing with Tatum, the Olympics thing with Brown. I just think there is extra motivation for these guys, which is actually kind of interesting. That to me is the interesting part of this team going into the season.
So, go ahead.
I just, from a talk show standpoint, I just have a hard time with the way the Celtics are being talked about.
I'm just with you.
No, there's nothing that could get away. No, they're properly motivated. Oh, no, they had the Olympic slights, and they had this slight and that slight, so they'll be properly motivated. No one's even close to them. So, guys, what are we even talking about then? What's the point of
this? Is why I said they're going to be hard to talk about.
Having this conversation. I mean, but I also think it's a little unrealistic. I mean, I think there's no team for sure that compares to their roster. I'll agree with you. But there's never been a time in my lifetime watching the NBA where there's been as many sort of championship caliber players headlining different teams across the league.
Parity. Call it parity.
So it might be parity, but I mean, I don't know. I think there's any number of maybe 6 to 8 guys that could win the MVP.
I know what you mean. Dispersion of talent.
If Anthony Edwards broke through and won a title, it would surprise no one. If Gilgeous-Alexander broke through and won a title, it would surprise no one. If Giannis got his head out of his ass and he and Lillard figured it out and they played better team defense, would anyone be stunned if they went back on another run?
No.
What if Wembanyama is just ready year 2? I don't think he is. I don't know what he's surrounded by, but I don't know. I just think there's more of those guys than there's ever been.
There are.
So, and there hasn't been a repeat champion in the league since,
Golden State, right?
Since the Golden State Warriors in the, so the Durant Warriors. So we're going on, this will be year 7, if there's no repeat champion. I mean, there's a reason for that. But somehow I just think everyone is no one's close. Brown will be motivated. He was left off the Olympic team. Tatum's motivated because he was benched by Kerr. No one's even close. Okay, Joe and Skaz, what are we going to talk about then?
Well, because to your point,
I'm not saying it with defiance. I'm actually saying it with annoyance because again, I've tried to conjure up ideas. I'm who can challenge them? I just don't see it. I really don't.
And this is an era in the league. It used to be where you arrived at this level. And then you won multiples, and it was your decade or half decade, and that's the way the league worked.
It's different.
It's different this decade. It just feels like it's a different era.
No, it is a different era. I mean, to your point, I was just going to say, I was going to ask you when you talk about Golden State or the Celtics roster being better than everyone else, do you think it's like Golden State's roster was when they had Durant, Klay Thompson,
No.
Right? So that team to me was sort of like the old, the old NBA dynastic roster.
Yeah.
Where they had 3 of the greatest shooters in the history of the league and no one else had a sniff. Like there was just no one even close. I think a couple of teams are within arm's length. Let me put it that way. The Celtics have the best roster. I would not be shocked if Oklahoma City made a run or if Denver made a run. Denver gave the Celtics problems last year. They match up on the wings. They can give them difficulty. And there is the Porzingis factor. I mean, we don't know for sure what he's going to look like when he comes back. And even when he does come back, what's that going to look like? Who knows? How long does he stay, rather, is what I mean. Can he survive it? So, to your point about the best players in the league, Mike, 1 through 6 or even 8, there's not a huge gap.
I mean,
and they're all spread out.
And I'm just saying, Jokic has led a team to a championship. Giannis has led a team to a championship. They're both still in their prime. No one would be surprised if Edwards or Gilgeous-Alexander emerge on that level. Okay, so that just ripped off 4 guys. I don't personally believe in Embiid, so I'm not putting them on my list. I don't personally believe in Brunson as a number 1. I think in the East, it might. I really think Milwaukee is the only chance, unless Miami swings a trade. I'd still give Miami a chance if they make they got to make a move and bring another star in there somehow. And then I would, between everything they got going on down there, would give them a chance over Milwaukee. But they got to land somebody, right? Which I think is always a possibility. I always think Riley's got something up his sleeve. I just wouldn't write it off the way I feel people are writing it off.
Yeah,
this is a different era.
I mean, I almost never do that. I'm just speaking for me. Because to me, you still got to go out and play. You still got to keep the focus. And Murray, I hear what you're saying about the motivation for Tatum and Brown. I still need to see it.
Oh, yeah. No,
I still need to see it. So it's great. Yeah, we're pissed off about the Team USA basketball. Great. How can you carry that for 82 and then another 20 after that? Or 25?
Yeah.
Can you do that for 107
it needs to translate
games?
on the floor. But I will say, with Brown, the shape he's in, I mean, you guys saw the shirts off photo.
Tremendous. I mean, obviously the photos, he's
jacked.
He's cut from granite.
No. Those two are hardworking, good, dialed-in pros. And they've grown up, and I have nothing bad to say about them. Other than they're human beings. These are human beings playing the game. And it's an era in the league where it's harder than ever to run it back. And I certainly don't hear that when I hear people talking about the Celtics. So, leave it to me to be the one just to say it. But, I mean, otherwise, if I'm wrong, then what are we even talking about?
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger Mazz here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.